Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave,
I'm Catie.
and you are listening to our weekly Survivor recap podcast in which we break down the latest episode of Survivor. And the latest episode is episode 3 entitled, Catie,
Your job is recon.
Your Job is Recon.
Mhm.
And I believe that refers to
It was Michaela. Michaela said it.
Michaela says
Michaela
that.
is the best.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's my
Unbelievable.
favorite. Is she? I don't know. I think she is. She's my favorite female.
Yeah,
Bar none. Yeah.
yeah, arguably best character
Yeah.
so far.
So far.
Arguably, but I don't know. Dave is pretty interesting, and I mean,
Dave got under my. He bugged me
yeah,
this week.
too
That's okay. That's okay.
too skeezy or what? What is it?
Super skeezy. Well, here's the thing. During that whole summit, my antenna was flipping out, so I didn't see all of it. I was yelling at my TV.
Oh no. Okay.
But it came back right at the part where he was talking to Taylor and he was like, I trust you and I will stab one of my own people in the back for you. And I'm like, in my head, I was thinking, what if it's Ken? Like, would you know what I mean? That's where my head immediately went. But I'm sure that's not what he meant. But either way, I just thought it was bad luck.
Well, here's the thing that I found funny about what he said at that part. He said, come a swap. If there's 3 millennials and 2 Gen X, I'm getting rid of that other Gen X.
And where does he think he stands then?
Well, exactly. I'm just like, duh. It's duh, right? Of course, if there's 2 Gen X and 3 millennials, you're gonna get rid of the other Gen X. Because if you didn't, you would be the one going home. So it's like that's just the most obvious thing ever. And then yeah, exactly. Where does that leave you once you get rid of the other Gen X? You are the next one.
That's really putting the cart before the horse. I mean, what are the odds that there's going to be a swap where you will end up with those numbers and with Taylor?
Yeah.
And why Taylor? Of all the people for him to hone in on there, Will or Jay would have been a better option, but I guess he didn't know that because he didn't know them. But
I think he just stayed in that spot where they were eating peanut butter and jelly, and like everyone else went off, and he's like, hey, maybe if I just stay here, I can get one of these guys alone. And it just so happened that the only one that he got alone was Taylor. I don't think it was like he chose.
So it's just like,
it's just random.
Whoever's left, I'm gonna pledge undying loyalty to. That's, I don't know. That's just
it's better than nothing. Honestly, it's like it's a strategy that's aggressive, but yeah, it's not very thought out. It's just sort of like it's a paranoid approach. It's just like, hey, you're here. I'm going to plead to you, like, hey, please don't vote me out. I'll work with you. He's just gonna say that to everybody.
He's even begging people not on his tribe not to vote him out. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty paranoid and desperate, but I think that's how he operates.
It's a very Russell Hantz kind of approach to the game almost, which is
except a meek Russell Hantz. Like not a strong domineering one, like a meek one.
Yeah, a meek Russell Hantz, but it's still similar in the sense that he's just going up to everybody and just being like,
I trust you.
I trust you.
Don't trust him.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, he's getting more comfortable now. So like he's coming across very snake rat like, like creepy smile and like yeah.
Yeah, he's getting a little. I worry about what David with a little bit of power might be, and we might see that next week. Although, I don't know. We can talk about this later when we get to the vote and stuff. But I'm not sure it's going to be as a pleasant thing to watch.
Yeah,
this week there were a lot of things this week that I didn't enjoy watching. So
I think it'll make good TV when David goes evil genius style, but it is going to be ugly too, I think.
Yeah, that happens a lot in Survivor.
Absolutely.
Not always fun at the time, but in hindsight, you can respect the things that people like him do.
Yeah. Yeah, so we predicted that Hannah would go home, and we were.
I bet Zeke and Adam were wishing that was the case. That girl doesn't know when to shut up.
Oh my God, that opening scene was terrible.
Painful to watch.
Yeah,
like it's literally all she had to do. And then at the end, she walked away like, "Oh my God, I'll leave you alone." And I'm like, That's what they were asking you to do in the first place. Just calmly.
Yeah.
And by the end, she's like offended, like, "Oh, I'll leave you alone."
Yeah, like that's
Yes,
not what
thank
they were
you. That's
asking
what they
her.
wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love how Adam was just like sort of just had Zeke's back the whole time. He's like, listen.
I love those two. I'm really bummed they're on the outs. I like them.
Yeah, I'm not worried about them, honestly. I think
Good.
things will flip around for them. I'm pretty sure. I don't know so much about Adam,
God,
but
when
I know Zeke will be okay. Even though they threw out Zeke's name first, I think Adam will probably be in more trouble than Zeke. I just don't think he has
yeah,
the relationship with them that Zeke does. So
I
I don't
don't
know.
know. They just don't show it that much. It seems like they're all pretty tight with each other.
Yeah.
Taylor
Well,
and Figgy, oh no, they gotta go. They're the worst, right?
I mean, I feel like Taylor's gonna go farther into the game just because I
Right.
think we.
Please get. I don't just get rid of one of them. Figgy might have been worse this week in how she was saying, "If you write down Figgy's name, you go home." And it's like, bitch, you didn't do a goddamn thing to save yourself. Michelle and Jay did it. You did nothing.
And it's like there's been one vote. Like slow down, slow your roll a little
Yeah.
bit. Been one vote, okay? We haven't
Yeah.
seen what's gonna happen consistently yet. So take it easy.
No.
Pump the brakes.
Pump the brakes, Figs.
Pump the brakes, Figs. Um,
She's the worst.
yeah. Well, I think if there was a vote against them, it would be Figgy before Taylor. But I don't know if that's
Yeah,
a
well,
good
did you
thing
see
or
what
not.
Taylor did in the challenge? I think they'd be dumb to get rid of Taylor over Figgy at this point.
Yeah, didn't he
Taylor
carry
took
like
like 4 of those bags over. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he was the one that was going well. Cece was trying, she was like trying for
Yeah.
a
He went 3
personal
times.
achievement. Yeah. It's like
While
way to go,
Cece conquered her
Cece.
own personal Everest.
You did it, but your tribe lost because of you, basically.
You know, though, they made it close. They caught up, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it was close. It was closer than you would expect with how much time Cece lost them. It
Yeah,
wasn't
so if
it wasn't
Cece
a
hadn't
blowout.
done it, then they might have won. Yeah, so they had every right to vote her out, but I kind of had a feeling they wouldn't. It wouldn't work out.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know exactly what happened there. I think that was basically that one from what we saw, that one statement Paul made, right?
Yeah,
Um, that
it
one thing he
wasn't.
said.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look. He said she expressed Jessica with the disgusting eyes, and I know it's not her fault, but ugh, gross. She said to Paul, as long as you guys don't have some guys thing going on. And then he said, oh, believe me, if there was, I would tell you guys about it and say, girls, you're on your own. And yeah, that doesn't sound great, but I honestly don't think it's something they should have completely. I like it because it was fun to watch to get Paul out, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
it wasn't a great move for them.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, you have a solid 6 that is like way more solid than many alliances you'll ever see on Survivor. Like they
Yeah.
really to all trust each other and be like,
Mm-hmm.
it's very us against them. And that sort of alliance that's that strong is like, I feel like it's pretty rare these days in new school Survivor. So yeah, it's definitely a dumb move to break that up. I mean, but Paul, what was he thinking when he said that? I mean, that was really bad. Like,
Paul, he's got a big mouth.
yeah.
That's but the thing that sucks now is Paul's not there. They're left with Chris and Brett, who I think were 2 very loyal
Mm-hmm.
guys, and
Yep.
they were left in the dark. And now, what are they going to hitch their wagon to David instead of 2 like stalwart, steadfast men like Chris and Brett? I mean, I don't know them, but I'm assuming they're a lot more sturdy physically, mentally
Yeah.
than David.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see that happening because they do seem like they're going to be hurt personally and like
Yeah.
and want vengeance on the women.
I
So
really like Chris. Can we just take a minute and talk about Chris and how
yeah.
at that summit thing, how everybody was all la 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 la, but Chris was like, I'm just gonna take it in. I'm not gonna, he just
Yeah.
came off really well in that scene, even though he didn't say much or do much. I was very impressed
Absolutely.
with him.
Yeah, there were two winners quotes in this episode. and
Oh,
one of them was Chris, and I have it
what did he
written.
say?
I have it written right here. It's he said an attorney friend of mine once told me, look at the opposition with clear eyes and a cold heart.
That's amazing. I remember
Yeah,
that now. Clear eyes and a cold heart.
yeah.
God
So
damn, that's good.
yeah,
I want
that
to
is
get that
good.
printed out. What's the other winner's quote?
uh, it's
Adam? Was it Adam?
no, it's Michaela.
I,
You want to hear Michaela's winner quote?
I do want to hear it.
Okay,
A Michaela winner
it
just is
goes a
exciting.
little something like this. I'm I'm not making any decisions right now. I'm just watching and thinking, and my gut'll tell me something when the time comes.
See,
Yep.
that's the thing. When you're playing Survivor, you don't want to be like Jessica and be like, okay, let's just make this move to make this move. Michaela and Chris,
Yeah.
just soak it in. This what is it, day 10?
Yeah.
Soak it in. Don't ruffle any feathers.
Yeah. But
Don't get on anyone's bad side.
this brings up another interesting thought regarding that sort of gameplay. Look at like Lucy. She's kind of playing
Who?
that's
Who dat?
the one that doesn't talk, the woman that doesn't talk on the Gen X tribe.
Okay, got it.
So she sits back. She seems to be that type of player based on, well, of course, maybe they're just not giving us any of her dialogue, but she seems to be
Yes.
the type of player that sits back and doesn't say anything. But it got me thinking, like, can you take that? You can probably take that too far and have that be a detriment. Like too much of that sitting back and listening and not really getting involved at all, you know? Um, I feel like that can be a detriment as well. Like I don't see Lucy doing well in the game because she's not getting involved enough.
Well, it's got to be more like a Jeremy, where you're not exactly like out there barking orders. You're kind of sitting back, and your personality is just so that people come to you. And I
Yeah.
guess you can't fake that. If
No.
you have like a sandpaper personality like David, people aren't just going to come to you with their problems. If you're like a warm, fun guy like Jeremy, or a nice, seemingly trustworthy guy like Chris, I think people will come to you. But if you're just like not just kind of sulking in the background and not saying anything just to not ruffle any feathers, that's not right either. I don't know.
Yeah, because at some point, like on one extreme side of it, people are gonna be like, "Who's that person? Can we just get rid of them? They haven't said anything." You know,
Yeah.
like that, you can take it that far, I think. So yeah,
I don't know that Survivor casts people who just don't speak. Like they
yeah,
mostly cast like type A personalities, which is why there's a lot of conflict.
yeah, exactly. I just thought of this too, though. I gotta mention that we kind of said Michaela was playing a sit back kind of game, but we're forgetting that last week she got into an
Yeah.
argument with Figgy. So it's not
Maybe
like
she's learned.
yeah, maybe she learned that. I just like the quote, and maybe it is a winner's quote, maybe not. I
Good
don't know. I
quote.
thought it was good. Yeah.
Love her. Want her to.
Love.
She didn't talk enough this episode, but it's good for her game probably.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about Adam and his logic that he spewed all over Michaela and
Yeah, refresh my memory exactly what he told them. I liked what he told them. I
well,
just don't remember it.
it was kind of the obvious observation of pecking order and where not pecking order as much as just alliances and where they stand. So he was just saying,
Yeah.
hey, look at you got a strong two with Taylor and Figgy, and they owe their lives in the game now to Jay and
Michelle.
Michelle. So that's
Mhm.
like a strong four now that they owe
Mhm.
their lives to them. So
Mhm.
you basically are saying if we get rid of one of those four, you break things up, and now those three that were there, Hannah, Michaela, and Adam, and I think he was lumping Zeke in as well. Those
Mhm.
three float back into the middle of the power situation instead of being like at the bottom. They're sort of just
Mhm.
back in the mix, you know. But
Well,
with
yeah,
those
I can't
four,
understand the logic in Michaela and Hannah wanting to be with like those 4 or 5, like obvious. I mean, it didn't even take Adam's speech to see that, yeah, they're clearly on the bottom of that. Why would they want that?
Well, Rob brought up an interesting point in his podcast in the Know-It-Alls, was that Michaela, as sort of a fifth or sixth, wherever she is in that foursome, like the fifth to their 4, makes her sort of like a floater vote or a middle person vote in a 4-person situation if the 2 factions wanted to go against each other or something, which is always a good spot to be in.
Yeah, but I just feel like,
she would
what
be
am I trying to say? It's not going to get to that point.
It wouldn't. Yeah.
The makeup of the tribe they have now, it's not going to get to that point. And people always say you want to be the floater between 2 couples. But I haven't seen that work out all that many times. They say that a lot in Big Brother, and it never really kind of pans out. So
because those 4 are tight and they don't want to vote each other, so they kind of put it off to the last minute so they don't have to deal with it. But the people who really get the game are the ones who sort of are like, hey, I can do this now ahead of the time before it comes to that point, you know. But I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. What are the odds of those 5 all making it to the point where they have to vote where she's going to be a swing vote? It's so unlikely. So it's like, I think I'd rather be in here. Go ahead.
Isn't Will already occupying that spot?
It kind of looks like Will is almost taking Jay's spot in this episode. I mean, you have lots of scenes where it's
just because of who went to the summit.
Will went to the summit, but Jay went too, but Michelle didn't go. So I guess you're right. You have kind of a mix of those 5. Taylor and Figgy are always there, but it's a mix between Jay, Will, and Michelle, who's also there.
So I feel like there's already 5 there.
Yeah, I feel like Jay and Will at this point are sort of interchangeable, like in that alliance.
Don't you think they see, and as they get closer to the merge, they're going to see Taylor as a possible Joey Amazing, who sucks at strategy but could win tons and tons of immunity challenges? And why keep someone like that around when he already has like a partner in crime who's never going to vote him out?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think it's stupid.
Taylor's a pretty obvious post-merge, early post-merge boot. I mean, that could easily happen for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's got his strong alliance with him, they might not honestly think that way. They might carry him along. I don't know.
Oh, that angers me. I get flashbacks to Cook Islands, where the white pretty people stuck together and wanted to take out all the minorities.
Oh yeah.
Do you get that vibe?
Maybe a little bit.
Just hate them.
I never really liked the cool kid alliances. They're always.
Yeah, you had Eddie and Reynolds. They went far, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, they never
go to the end. So you're right. We'll be okay. They won't make it.
We'll be okay.
We'll be okay.
Yeah, Taylor, when he went to the summit, he said that my alliance is going with me, and it was.
You mentioned Michelle.
It was Figgy, Jay, himself, and Will. So yeah, Michelle wasn't there. So it is just a mix of those 5. Who knows? But either way, Figgy and Taylor are in it. They're in it all the way. It's just the question of those other 3.
Isn't the combination of Zeke, Adam, Michaela, and Hannah like so much more interesting and entertaining?
So much more interesting, but I don't see how they can turn it around. Will is kind of. I feel like Will is the linchpin. He's the pivot point, and like
he seems pretty much locked in with the Triforce, which has 4 people.
It seems that way, but they also kind of show like a shot of him sitting back and like
observing.
Yeah, when he's hanging out with them on that pallet or whatever, he's like they show a shot of him contemplating like, what am I doing here? It was a very intentional look he had on his face that they showed. I don't know, maybe. I tend to read a lot into like little shots that don't necessarily mean anything.
Right.
Like Dave had one at Tribal Council where they zoomed in on his face and they played that like creepy noise from Lost. Like
I think that's just what the noise he's gonna get.
Yeah, he smiled and they zoomed in on his face at Tribal Council and they made that creepy sound.
Like a Ben Linus kind of look.
Yeah.
Like a Ben Linus musical.
But I wish I could remember the point, the like spot they put it, because it was like it had context almost, and it made me think of like what's gonna
Oh.
happen down the line, but I can't remember what it was now.
Here's something that can
Uh-huh.
happen. The idol on the Gen X beach has been found. Millennials, not so much.
Hey, did they showed it?
If
They showed it
Zeke,
in this episode. Yeah, they showed a shell with an
they did?
orange.
Shut your mouth. They
Yeah,
did not.
Adam.
Did they
Yes,
really?
yes. Adam was looking around, or Adam was walking on the beach, walking around, and the camera like comes off of him and zooms in onto a shell with an orange swirl on it. So it's a shell.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So
Well, someone Zeke or Adam has to find that. Otherwise, if they can't get a fifth person,
it looks pretty easy to find. I'm
then
surprised
they use
nobody.
the idol to drop that 5 down to 4, and then they have the numbers, right?
And they got the numbers.
Have,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think they can do it. I think they just gotta look harder. I mean, I'm sure they were
I'm
already
sure they're
looking.
looking. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet when they got after they won the challenge, they're thinking, "Hey, now's a good chance to find this idol and flip things around at the next vote."
Yeah,
So
I hope so because it's just, no
it's
one
just,
wants to see it play out the way but it never does, which is the beautiful thing. It never plays out unless it's Redemption Island season. It never plays out exactly how it looks like it's going to.
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, what else can we talk about?
I think we should talk about Ken
Yeah, Kendall.
again.
Let's talk about Kendall.
And how wrong we were about him so far. There's still time for him to go back.
There was elements of what we saw in his interview at Tribal Council when he, like, as much as I dig what yeah, like, let's not lose sight of language and how beautiful it is. It's like, yeah,
hey man,
be efficient, but don't lose sight of the beauty of language and look into the past. And yeah, hey,
I'm with them on that.
Hey, I'm with him too. I'm just saying he's preaching to the wrong audience here. I think this is something. Save it for the millennials.
I feel like if he makes the merge, I feel like he's going to be good with. And they're already asking about him. The millennials are like, "What about Ken?"
What about
so
Ken?
I think if he makes the
what's
merge,
Ken like?
Yeah, Taylor's like, "Is he better than me?" And Paul's, and then we're like, "Yes, Taylor, he is."
Yeah. And yeah, Cece's like, yeah, he's nothing like what you would expect. He's one of the most humblest dudes you'd ever meet. So
I like Cece. She's sweet. I like her. You know what? I really don't dislike a lot of people. It's just Taylor and Figgy. That's really it.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't dislike them.
I do.
As individuals, really. I kind of just dislike them together. Showmance.
Well, they're worse together, but they're not great apart either.
Especially when they're like cocky about it. Like, man, everything's going for us. We're like make it out, and we're like at the top of the pecking order, and it's just.
You know what? They kept saying that, and I'm like, on Survivor, when someone says stuff like that, it's always followed up by a fall, by like a big fall. Yeah. And it didn't happen, and I was bummed out. I mean, maybe they're setting it up for a big fall, like multi-episode arc that will come eventually. But I was just waiting for that to get like thrown in their faces. But nope, it's just beautiful, pretty people getting what they want, life handed to them on a beautiful platter.
Yeah, for sure. That's millennials for you.
Yeah, well, you're a millennial, you would know.
Yeah, I've had my share of that in my lifetime, I think, but it catches up. It catches up to you eventually. You start seeing things the Gen X way a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? There was a time, like in the 90s, to Gen Xers, the way they look at millennials now. I mean, it's just the circle of life.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just part of it's growing up. They're just that age now, and different generation, and they'll grow up and they'll change some of the ways they see things.
Yeah,
it's the way it is.
That's the circle of life. It's just the way it goes. I'm 32, and I already feel, well, for years I've already felt myself looking at young people like, like if I had a lawn, I'd be that get off my lawn lady.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What else to talk about, Catie? We didn't say much about Ken Doll, but what was there anything else to say? I guess he's doing good. I think he's doing good. He's doing a good job.
Yeah, I think he has a chance at a long game, and it seems like they're setting him up for a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or it could go either way. I think he could have a longer story, or they're setting him up for the guy who has to fight really hard but still goes out in the middle somewhere, sort of thing.
He was one of the people at the beginning of each season. They interview Probst. I think it's Entertainment Weekly, whatever. He always does an interview where he nice mug.
Thank you.
Where he
Yep.
Go Vikings 4-0. Yeah. Sorry. No, where Probst lists like 3 or 4 people to watch out for during the game.
Ooh.
And I can't remember. He talked about Zeke. How can you not?
Yeah.
And he talked about Ken. And I was like, Ken? Why are you talking about Ken? Because I was at that point still convinced he was going to be just a douchey granola, hippie, weird man.
For sure.
But yeah, so maybe he'll be around for a while. I like the CC David Ken thing. It's such a weird combination of people. And even though I like Chris and Brett too, and they're kind of at odds right now, I like a lot of it. I think they did a really good job of casting this year.
It's a good cast. Yeah, I like how they all like, they're not like ugly people, but they're like normal looking people. It's like if you cast more for just people who are normal, that you don't just go like, oh, they look really good on camera, they're very photogenic. You go for, oh, they're kind of photogenic, but their personalities are very interesting. Like that's got personality is number one. It's gotta be. And it makes for a good cast.
Yeah, they picked a lot of people with just really cool personalities. And I don't like hate anybody other than Sailor or Figgy, whatever you're calling them.
Yeah.
As a group. I don't like them separately, but I really don't like them together.
Maybe I'm just more generous and optimistic about Survivor cast in general these days, because it seems like I've been high on the cast for the last like 5 seasons.
Well, last year though, you had like Scott and Jason who were just
villainous, but I think I was high on them because they were interesting characters,
But don't you remember the San Juan del Sur cast?
Oh God, that's the worst cast.
That was cast. Pretty much bottom of the barrel. Although it did give you Kelly Wentworth and Jeremy Collins, so what can you say about that?
Yeah, and I'd like to see like Reed and what was his boyfriend's name again?
Yeah, Reed and
Josh. I'd like to see them again sometime.
That was about it. Those guys. Well, and Natalie. I guess there were a few good.
Keith. Can't forget about Keith.
Keith, yeah. Okay, we named all the good people. The rest were flunkies.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Drew Christie. Yeah,
but for not good reasons.
Yeah, bring him back and like
we had a little Drew Christie moment this week. What did you think of that?
Drew Christie moment.
Where Jay was like, "Hey Jeff, we want to trade this for the fishing gear or whatever at the end of the challenge."
They're like, "No."
They were like, I don't quite understand what Ken said.
Yeah, how funny.
They were smart to say no.
How funny was the way he said that? He like started the sentence. He started it in such a way where they thought they were going to give it to him, and then he's like, no. He's like, as much as I like the fishing gear, I'm going to keep it. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
I think he was just trying to mess with him. But I thought it was funny because it goes all the way back to the premiere episode where they had the choice to take the chickens or the fishing gear. They chose the chickens.
They sure did, didn't they? And where are the chickens now? Did they eat them all already?
They probably ate them or set them free. I don't know. They're millennials.
They're millennials. They must have set them free.
Yeah.
There's probably some deleted scene we haven't watched somewhere.
Oh man, I haven't been watching any of the deleted scenes this year. What am I doing? I need to get on it.
Well, you know what? I went to their website and I couldn't find any. So if they're out, if they're out there, my IT degree isn't serving me very well because I couldn't.
Well, I think you have better luck just going to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, maybe they're all up there and it's like some.
That's usually where they are.
Super secret membership you have to pay for to get those videos, but someone just rips them to YouTube right away, sort of thing.
Well, the Survivor on CBS has their own actual YouTube channel.
Oh, that's right.
That's usually where they upload. That's the best way to watch the pre-season videos too. Like the CBS website is garbage. Don't go there.
Yeah, that website, it needs some work. Yeah,
needs a little bit of work. Yeah.
My biggest complaint is that they show the same commercial over and over again. You can watch a 2-minute video and get a 30-second to minute and a half commercial of the same one over and over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing.
But I think I've said that before on the podcast, so it probably didn't
Have
need
you?
repeating. Yeah.
It always needs repeating.
Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me.
What else? What else can we talk about?
Well, we haven't talked much about Paul getting voted out, but I guess we did a little at the beginning.
Yeah, I guess Paul really just needed to watch that comment. I mean, I think it was a bit misunderstood. I don't think he meant like straight up like I would drop you guys at immediately if there was something better. I don't think that's exactly what he meant. I think he meant, oh, if I found out it was guys, girls now, I would go with it.
Yeah, there's just such a thing. I can like sense it when a person feels too comfortable and is too like cocky about where they are. They can like talk too much, and I just think that's what happened with him.
Yeah.
Very simple.
And it's like he thought he could get away with saying things that he really shouldn't have, that no one should get away with. He just, like you said, he felt so comfortable. He was saying things that he should know better.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it comes down to. There is probably more to it. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, do you think there was, because it was just so funny how it worked out, how David and Ken were like, should we try to get them to switch the vote to Paul? And then of their own volition, it just happened to switch to Paul because Paul said something dumb. It's like either the universe conspired to get Paul out, or like there was more talk about how he was too much of a dictator, how he was just, there was just unhappiness with maybe how he was doing things. And maybe that's just one little comment was enough for them to be like, okay, let's just get him out of here.
Well, yeah, I do know that pre-game, a lot of people sensed that Paul would be an abrasive personality, and I think it was pretty obvious that he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And you got to wonder, after 6 days or 9 days or whatever, how much he was actually starting to get on his own alliance's nerves too, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tough to say.
Well, in his exit interview, he's in one of them. I read a couple of them today. In one of them, he said that he didn't feel like the leader because he felt like he was brought in by Chris and Brett. Like he felt like they were really running things and they kind of brought him in. And he also said that they wanted Ken to be with them too, but Ken just like to them, or he just didn't want to talk game to them or something. So I don't know. Seems different than what we're seeing on the show.
Yeah. What made everyone think that Paul was sort of running the show then?
Well, I think you see that Chris is quiet. He's not going to be the guy who's like, do this, do this, do this. And Brett, I feel, probably follows more Chris because they probably have a lot more things in common.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm making this up. I don't know if there's any truth to it at all.
No, I agree.
But then I feel like Paul just.
Go ahead.
He's just got the mouth, and he felt like, happy to be included, and that like made him feel cocky and comfortable, and that made him the real Paul come out.
Yeah, I think Chris and Brett pulled Paul in, and then once he's like, okay, I'm in, then he sort of becomes the mouth of the alliance, and Chris and Brett are happy with that because they're like, okay, we got our guy, and we got a guy who's going to be the target before us. So it's like the total ideal situation.
But now he's gone.
Now he's gone, and so
Chris and Brett got Adam and Zeke.
Yep,
is what happens.
Yes.
Which sucks because I like all four of those guys a lot.
Yeah, those guys, I still think they all have a really good shot in the game. Things will turn around one way or the other for them. So I'm kind of wondering what the aftermath. I think we might have talked about it already, but that's kind of the big question: is what is the aftermath of the women deciding to vote Paul out? How do Chris and Brett react, and what do they decide to do about it?
Can they do?
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you're right. It's a Survivor. It's not just.
There's still 8 people there, so the three women, if the three women that seem tight, Sunday, Jessica, and Lucy, I mean, they're just 3 out of 8. So it's pretty easy for the other two guys to say to the Ken, Dave, Cece, we're with you now. Screw those women.
Yeah, that could happen too.
Yeah, it's tough to say.
Who knows? I don't know.
Could see them just stick. They might just stick together. They might just be like, you know what? We didn't know you guys didn't like Paul. That's okay. Let's just keep knocking these other guys out.
You know what would be smart of them is to bring the 3 girls back in the fold. Be like, look, we still have the numbers. It's fine. I get that Paul was just not working for you. But then down the road, you have a legitimate excuse to cut their throats later.
Yeah, you can cut their throats and be like, well,
you screwed me. I'm going to screw you.
We screwed you back a couple weeks later. Sorry.
It was
or
just
a couple
delayed.
votes later. Yeah, exactly.
That's how you play the game, man. You don't always get instant gratification. You got to hold on to stuff.
Yeah.
Long
game. So Zombie Paul voted out of Survivor.
Yeah. You got.
Let's remember we used to do MVPs?
Yeah, we did. Okay, let's do it again.
All right. Well, who's your MVP?
Oh crap, I got to think. Do you have one in mind?
I don't. But I can come up with one pretty quick, I think. I
think I'm going to pick Ken just because I don't know how much work he did planting seeds that Paul was not a good leader and needed to be taken out. But I think whatever he planted kind of took hold in Jessica's mind, at least. She was very quick to be like, bye.
Yeah. I kind of want to give one to a millennial. I would give it to Michaela just for her one quote, but that's...
Yeah, no, do it. She deserves it.
I kind of want to give it to Will because I feel like Will's in a good spot. Like after watching this episode, he's like, he's like in no danger. He's like in the least danger of anyone of being voted out. He's just like, right.
You're right.
He's smack dab in the middle of the whole thing. If they're going to get anyone to flip, it's going to be Will, and Will is supposedly in solid with the Triforce situation. So yeah, I'm really sad that we are now like legitimately using that term for that.
We should stop. Let's stop because now there's like 5, and I don't know how you make a Triforce out of 5 triangles.
Yeah, let's give it back to Zelda where it belongs and leave it out.
That's where it belongs and where it should stay. And they can be like from some other garbage video game. I don't know, but they're not from Zelda.
Yeah, I'll come up with something to call them that comes from like one of the shittiest video games ever made. So
what's the shittiest video game you've ever played?
That I've ever played?
You played like all of them.
I don't know. I usually don't play like bad games. Like I kind of like I follow like
what's that one? Oh man, with like the dumb freaking kids in the baseball hats.
Baseball hats.
It's like Nintendo, but the characters are on Smash Brothers, and they're so annoying.
Earthbound.
Those guys suck.
That's a good game though. That's a really good game.
Well, they annoy me. To be fair, anyone who's not Mario or Zelda pretty much annoys me. So, those games.
A lot of pop culture people, like the pop culture reference is that E.T. is the worst game, and that was on Atari. But there's only one character in E.T., so you can't really go with that.
And E.T., the character from the movie, is amazing, so you can't associate him with that.
So you can't use that. I'll come up with
we'll workshop something. You workshop something.
Yeah.
You know video games better than I do.
Yeah, we'll workshop something together.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we can use a Zelda reference that refers to
like a bad thing from Zelda, like
a bad thing from Zelda.
Ganondorf something.
Like the Ganon.
Like what do you call it?
Ganons?
What we could call them, the Deku nuts.
The Deku nuts. I kind of like that one. We'll ponder that one. We'll maybe go with that.
Not that Dekus are bad. Whatever. Sorry.
MVPs are Will and Ken, and predictions for next week.
Oh man, I don't remember that. I remember the preview for next week looked really funny. Oh, Michaela was really funny.
What did she say?
Something about her like she took.
Oh, the tatas are coming out.
She said something about
she's like, y'all gonna see some tatas today.
God, she's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna predict that the Gen Xers win because their dudes are so much bigger,
Is that
and the
is
challenge
that an
looks
immunity
very like a
challenge?
wrestling
Is that
thing.
an immunity challenge?
I I think they're still at the point where they're doing combined reward and immunity
Okay.
because there's so many
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
people. So I'm gonna predict Millennials. So shit, I guess that means Adam or Zeke are in trouble unless there's an immunity idol found. I'm still gonna pray that my boys are okay and that Figgy goes home.
Ooh, nice. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna stick with our last week thing and say Hannah because I have this feeling she's like really still grating on people. It's gonna be one of those votes where everyone's like let's just get rid of somebody easy that nobody likes. So
Yeah.
Hannah,
Okay. Fair enough. Sure.
cool.
Hannah or Figs.
There you go. All the guys are okay.
Boy, I was really worried there that Cece was going to go home and it would have been 3 minority women in a row. And I would have been like, hold on a second. This is getting a little bit problematic. So I'm glad it was a big white dude that went home.
Yeah, good point. I didn't even think of that. Holy crap. All right. Well, that's it for this podcast. We'll see you guys next week when we break down episode 4. And yeah, thanks for listening. Have a good night.
Good night.